A big headline out of China today. It announced sweeping reforms to two of its most controversial policies. In planning for the next decade, it's relaxing its long-standing one-child-only restriction and also abolishing its notorious labor camps. But as Carolyn Dunn reports, questions remain about whether Beijing is really committed to change.
These days, Joseph Xi's attention is focused on running his restaurant and being a newly elected municipal politician. Still, never far from his mind is the price he paid for political activism in his native China. 7 years in prison for editing a newsletter the Chinese government didn't like.
Very stressful and brainwashing, not only the hard labor, every evening, every morning, we have to go through the brainwashing.
Labor camps have been part of the Chinese system since the 50s, used to punish political dissidents. A policy change to close them is meant to appease the Chinese population and countries doing business with China.
Canadians or Americans will feel a little bit more comfortable if their companies are going into these countries and with reasonably a good human rights record.
But human rights activists are wary China is really committed to change. They fear closing labor camps could just drive human rights abuses further from sight.
People continue to be put away in places where they cannot be found for significant periods of time.
Joseph Xi calls the announcement nothing more than window dressing.
Pick up a little bit thing which will not affect their power to show the world we are improving.
The Chinese government is also promising to loosen its controversial one-child rule. Since the late 70s, most Chinese have been allowed to have just one child. Meant to stem overpopulation, the one-child rule has left a gender imbalance. 24 million men can't find a wife. And, say rights groups, forced abortions of females. The new rules will allow most Chinese to have 2 children. Canada called that a step in the right direction. A spokesperson for Foreign Affairs Minister John Baird urged all countries to address deeply rooted discrimination against girls. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, Calgary.